So today we're going to spend some time talking about connection. What is it? How does it work? What's it look like in our society? Webster's dictionary describes connection as a strong bond to something or to someone. In our society today, when you think about connection, think about all the different places that we connect. As a society, we are more globally connected than we've ever been. Think about your ancestors. Your great 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 grandma had less connection, less ability to connect with the world. But the challenge is that we feel more lonely today than our ancestors before. So we're actually going to explore that and look into that a little bit. When you think about the different places that we connect, think about all the social media that you have at your hand, how much time you spend looking at your emails, looking at your Instagram, or even just texting people. There's so many ways that we interact with the world around us, but when you take a look at it, very little of it is actually deep, meaningful, and actually heartfelt. We're more connected today, and yet we feel alone. That's such an interesting thought. And you start to think through, like, it makes a lot of sense. Instead of calling somebody, instead of meeting face to face, I typically text somebody or I email them. Sometimes I'm solving major issues through email or text, and the person doesn't ever even hear my voice. And so what's happening in society is we are steadily growing further and further apart from one another, from a heartfelt conversation, and missing that actual that piece of connection. We're getting information, but we're not getting connection. And so there's this really interesting thing that's happening in our society. People are feeling more and more lonely, even the more connected they are. I mean, you may have 14,000, 15,000, 100,000 followers on Instagram. You may be the pastor, the head pastor of a church, and find yourself feeling like no one really actually knows me. When you look back to your ancestors, think about the agricultural age. In the agricultural age, you were kind of landlocked. You were locked into this small area of influence, this small area of proximity. And the thing about that was you may not know a lot of people. You may not have 100,000 followers. 100,000 people may not know you, but the people that you do know, you're deep. You are super bonded with them because you're doing daily life with them. You're doing chores with them. And not only that, but when you look at your community around you, because if you're a farmer, they're probably all farmers too. You live in the same region, the same place. Therefore, your actual level of connection and satisfaction is so much deeper than my level of satisfaction today if I'm not actually careful. It's so easy for me to connect with somebody in, Iceland or in China or pastors over here and to feel like I have a bond. But then when I start to go through something, I realize I'm actually not super connected. Who do I pick up the phone and call? Who can I actually go into their home or their office and talk to them? And you think about 100 years ago, it wasn't even an option to pick up your cell phone and call somebody. I mean, you had to go to somebody's house, and that was normal. It was normal. Even when I was a kid, when I think back to when I was a kid, I lived in a small town called Weaverville. When I was a kid, you didn't even knock at your neighbor's door. I mean, literally, like my friend's house, I would just walk in. And you guys are probably a lot like that. Like, you just walk in, that was normal. If it was after 9 o'clock, someone could just show up at your house. Maybe they knocked, maybe they didn't. If you're a regular, you didn't. And that you just felt a strong sense of belonging to the community around you. Well, it's sad to say, but that type of connection is gone. It's lost in our community. It's lost in our world today. And so we are globally more connected, but individually we are so much less connected. The idea that somebody knows me is a fleeting idea, and we have to do something about that, or we feel more and more lonely. And this is becoming an epidemic today, is that the anxiety rates, the suicide rate, the depression, the social anxiety that happens is just skyrocketing. And so I want to challenge you, when you're thinking about connection, take a look at your life. How real are your connections, or how much time are you spending actually fostering a place where people know you, not through what you propose on social media, not your good times, but actually, do they really know you? Because that's the question today. When you lay down at night and you turn off the lights, do people really know me, or do they know a version of me? That's the challenge.